Do you see yourself as a perfectionist? Are you okay to embrace failure in order to be successful in what you're doing and what God has called you to do? Well, if you're anything like me, perfectionism can rob us of some of the best things that God has for us. So that's what we want to talk today about here on the Step Out and Thrive Radical Care for Christian Counselors podcast. So, if you are a Christian counselor, if you are a mental health professional, if you're a pastoral care leader, if you are a mom and dad, if you are someone who sometimes feels isolated and overwhelmed by the calling that God has given you, and you do a lot of one on ones with people that you dearly love, but sometimes you just wonder if you're getting the care that you need. And sometimes you need your cup filled up while you're in the right place. Because here we practice care, community application, resources, and encouragement. So you do not have to just survive, but you can learn how to thrive in the calling that God has given you. So today we're in the middle of this amazing series as I'm sharing all the lessons I've been learning in my years of learning to be a coach, learning to be a mental health professional, learning to work with pastoral care leaders. And this is a great place that I get to do this because I shared as this series began that I started realizing I'm getting older. And I'm saying that proudly. Now, some of you guys are like, you guys are older than me. You're like, Bethany, like, seriously, you have no idea. But I've reached that age in my 40s now. I'm 42. I'm going to share that with the world. You know, you never ask a woman her age, but I'm 42. And I've reached that age now where I'm realizing I'm not the youngest person anymore in the room. And people are starting to ask me, wow, Bethany, you've been in coaching and ministry and leadership for that long. Can you tell me, and what would you do in this situation? Now, you all know in the coaching rooms, in the Step Out and Thrive room, especially, I do not flat out answer anything. And some of you guys are like, and click, we're done. No, we do get to resolutions, but it's through curiosity. Because I found out if you just give an answer to someone, if I would just flat out try to give you an answer to something, if you're anything like me, you're gonna test that answer to see if that's true. But then also, it's my answer, it's not your answer. So really, I create places where I really want people to get curious about it, to wrestle, to have the safety to really discover, okay, God, what are you calling me to do? What does this look like in my story? And own it, and then walk out and thrive in that area. So, perfectionism. Is it okay to make mistakes? My life and my discovery, it's not only okay, it's a given that you're going to make mistakes. Anytime we're working with people, mistakes are going to happen because we're not perfect. Shh, no, we're not perfect. We're not perfect. And that is the very thing that helps people come and get to know us and connect with us. I don't want to connect with the perfect person. I don't know about y'all, but I don't want that. I need to know that somebody else out there understands and gets the struggles that I'm dealing with. I don't want to be with a perfect person. That is not the person that I really want to get coaching and encouragement and ministry from. So, how does this look like on a practical level? Well, here's the story you're going to learn from me today. I've had several different experiences, unfortunately, where I've got to be, I think Summer calls this a joyful student of failure, meaning you learn the best through your failures. We really do. Now, you don't want to do it all the time because we honestly don't do it all the time. But we do have a choice to whether or not we're going to learn from those opportunities that we have. So, this is my story. One of the times when I was in coaching, I remember meeting with a specific client. Now, before you get into any of my groups, the Step Out and Thrive groups, you have to meet one on one with me. Either you're a close connection already with me, I've worked with you in another group, we've had some, other conversations, or if you're brand new and we don't know each other, we're going to have at least an hour real curious listening to Jesus conversation if being a part of this group is your next step, especially if it's a tip community group, because that group is together every single week for 6 months. You want to make sure that you're in the right place. We don't let people just bail out. In fact, that's part of the group, is to learn how to do life together. With that being said, I was learning how to do these calls with people, and I was at the very beginning. This is one of the very first groups. It wasn't even a tip community group. It was the very first group that I was launching years ago, and I was still like learning how to use Zoom. Y'all feel my pain if you've ever gone through that. Some of us are still going through that because Zoom changes stuff all the time. We love you, Zoom. We know you're making progress, but keep the buttons where they're supposed to be. Anyway, with that being said, I was learning how to do these one-on-one sessions on Zoom, and I had a dear friend of mine actually come on, and I almost thought about just letting her in the group, but I was like, no, I really do need to practice this one-on-one sessions with them. And one of the questions that I ask is, why do you want to be here? Why is this group your next best step? Let's get curious and ask God about that. And during the session, I was kind of feeling this push-pull, and I wasn't sure. And I think really deep down, I knew that she was not a good fit for this group. But honestly, like I was at the very beginning of my business, and when push came to shove, A, I cared more about what she thought of me, and B, I needed to be able to earn some money. I was at that point where I was trying to say, God, is this gonna be, are you gonna provide through this? Because I need to be able to provide financially for my family. And so even though I had that unsettledness and I knew what that felt like, I went ahead and I let her in the group. Now we talk about this now because I don't share anything without prior experience, but I don't share her name or anything like that. And so we talk about it now because we laugh about it because we both realized it wasn't a great fit, but she had the same issue that I did. She didn't want to disappoint me and I didn't want to disappoint her. And so it wasn't a good fit all around. If I had the audacity to really sit with that then on that call, we would have avoided the next 8 weeks of just not the right fit. Like I dreaded almost seeing her on the screen with the group, and she dreaded being with the group because she felt pulled to be somewhere else. And that actually hurt the entire group as a whole. Now, I did not know what that meant at the time, but I was so focused on what she would think of me and finances that I ended up really loving what I was getting to do with the whole group, but really just struggling of going, well, I got the group here, but this is where they could be if I could get this one person on board. And you can't make somebody do something, especially if they're not really all in to begin with. So, what was the mistake that I made? Well, if you're sitting there and you're hearing it, the biggest mistake that I would like to call out that I made is I didn't trust God. 100%. I did not trust God to really cover grace in my group because I knew that it wasn't right. I knew it didn't feel right, and I went ahead anyway. Here's another thing. I didn't create an atmosphere on that call, on that very first call that I had with her, that she could come up with me and go, Bethany, this isn't a good fit. This really isn't a good fit. I did not have the knowledge, nor did I have the trust in God to be able to have that really hard conversation. Now, years later, thank you, Jesus, I have seen places where I've had a conversation with someone and I feel like they're the right fit and they're going, Bethany, financially, I just don't have it. And I'm like, totally get it. Let's just spend some time praying about it. And lo and behold, they come back and God provides in amazing ways. I've had conversations with people where they're like, Bethany, I think this is the right group. And we start talking about what the group is about. And they realize, oh my goodness, right now with their family situation, it is not the right time. They just would not be able to be physically present in the group at that time. And so we realize, you know what? Maybe this isn't the right time for you. And the coolest thing is they'll find out later when they do have the gap that they're like, yes, let's go. Like they are ready to go because they know what the group is about. We've had this conversation. We still have it again before they enter the group because the group changes, as it goes. But we have this conversation again and it ends up being the perfect time because they're like, Bethany, I'm so ready for this. That is the type of person that God has orchestrated to be in the group. I don't have to make it happen. I don't have to let people in that aren't ready. That I'm like the gatekeeper of the group, that I only let so many people in because I want it to be a small group. But I know what it feels like for those people that to be feeling like they're completely alone, wanting to have deep transformational groups, wanting to trust again, wanting a place that they can share their story, wanting a place where they can walk out with other people. They're so tired of doing life as is, and they're willing to do anything to get to that place. And I have the time and energy to invest in them in that atmosphere. But I had to get to that point where I realized A, what it was going to cost me, but I also had B, what it was going to cost them. To really trust God and the calling, I know what I'm looking for, and I trust Him to bring those people to me. Now, that also means that I have a lot of conversations with people that I may send to other people, that I may refer out to other people that aren't the greatest fit for my group, and we might do other stuff together. But again, I've had to learn that hard lesson. Now, I will say Justin Janowski and Faith to Influence have been amazing at helping me really realize that that was a core need of mine and that was a core struggle of mine. And because of my time with that group, the Faith to Influence group, that really helped me come to God about that and go, you know what? God's going to carry the business, and God's going to carry the ministry, and God's going to bring the right people, and start praying for the right people. Luke 10 was another resource for that I was really praying, okay, God, I need you to provide, and I'm trusting you to provide and to make these decisions and make these guidance for me. So, with that story, you're learning where I had to be a joyful student of failure. I had to walk those 8 weeks out. I had to have that follow up conversation with my friend and go, this didn't work. And I even gave her the chance to refund her money, which she didn't. Thank you. We talked about that later too, but we both had to have that really hard conversation, and she learned too. She learned too at some of the struggles that she was walking through. And so it was a great learning opportunity for me. And it's something that I'm proud to say I don't think I've done up to this point. It's not easy, it's still a challenge for me, but it's something that I had to learn. So, what are some things in your life that you are learning from because you have given yourself an opportunity to fail? What are those things, friend? One of the things that I'm learning right now to really step out in is speaking, both virtually and in person. Now, some of y'all know I love speaking, and I do. I really do love speaking because there's a part where I just feel like God just comes down and fills me, and it's just amazing that connection that I get to have with people and the encouragement. And when God moves, He moves, and I'm just like, yes, I just get to be a part of it. Like I'm like a kid. I'm like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And so I love doing it. At the same time, I've had to learn to do it differently because of my vision loss and my hearing loss. I've had to learn different tactics to do. I've had to just really learn that if I need to sit down on a chair in the stage and be able to present in that way, people aren't going to hate me. That people understand why that I'm doing that. That people understand why that sometimes I want a lapel mic and not one that I have to hold. People understand why that is. And it's not an embarrassment. And I've had to learn how to do that right as well, and learn to be who God has created me to be. Friends, I am giving you permission to fail. If maybe you need to hear that from someone today, let me be the one that gives you permission to fail, as long as we agree that you're going to learn from those failures. Those failures help to get you to where you need to be. You're not a mistake. God is using every moment of where you are. It's up to us to really look around and see what He's doing and trust His fingerprints. I hope this was an encouragement to you today. I hope you, like me, are learning how to fail forward. And I hope that you have people around you that allow you to fail and allow you to get those atmospheres where you can share their stories. If not, come to our check-in Thursdays. please come to be a part of our Check-in Thursdays and be a part of some of the communities that we have. Check-in Thursdays is the second and fourth Thursday of every month, and you can check it out for free. But also to be a part of it, it's only $25 a month. And you can be a part of these really great communities where you can just learn to be seen and safe and secure and admit failures and be able to feel like you're part of a tribe. If you'd like to learn more information about that, go to bethanyboring.com. The link is down in the show notes or the video, however you're watching this. And as always, any kind of subscription, like if you like and subscribe to the video or the podcast, it's free to be able to do that, by the way. If you do that, that really helps get the word out and share it with your friends. Again, dare to do more than just survive. Step out and thrive. You are amazing. You are not a failure. You are learning from the opportunities that God has given you. Have a great week and see you guys next week. Bye.